Hello! Hello, hello, hello. There we go. Okay, yes, mic is working. Iloetzi, thank you for the watch streak. Very kind of you. Very kind of you. I apologize. I seem to have developed a bit of a toxic trait of being active in other streamers' chats after I hit go live. I blame Madrumimi. I blame Madrumimi. But yes, hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here. I am late. You are correct, Ring of Birds. I hit go live at 9:56, but then I spent like 20 minutes just... I don't want to do that at all. Hold on a second. That's a annoying VTS trait right there. Annoying VTS trait right there. That was VTS being kind of annoying. But yeah, get big. My punishment for we can do that. This is one of those things where I am kind of annoyed about not having fixed my redeems, because this redeem I like a lot. But I can okay, even interesting. Interesting. That is interesting. Okay, never mind. That is weird. That is weird. Almantas doesn't even work when I... Interesting. Let's see if small Mantas works. No, that's really interesting. Okay. Streamerbot is even more broken than I thought it was. Is even more broken than I thought it was. I thought it was pretty broken, and it turns out it is very broken. That is interesting. Alright, Colbounds, I can do the Ara. Give me a moment on the workout. I just got here. Give me a moment on the workout time. Alright. Alright. And there, how are people? I, went to bed after stream last night, and then, I stayed for, another hour, because you always gotta call, always gotta take a little bit of time after stream before I can just, go to bed. I'm not good at that. And then, I remember going to bed and waking up at 2 o'clock, and looking at my phone, which for some reason isn't displaying 24-hour time anymore. It was for a while. I really prefer 24-hour time for exactly the reason of I turn on my phone and I look at it, it says 2 o'clock, and I go, that's not right, I was awake at 2 o'clock. And then it said 7 o'clock. And that was, 3 hours ago. But yes, today's plan is to do a calligraphy stream. A nice classic calligraphy and chatting stream. That is where I want to be. That is where I want to be. Is in calligraphy. What have I even got to say for myself? What have I even got to say for myself? I am a little bit fried. If it was more than cheap quality. You can get pretty far with cheap quality, Colbounds. You can get quite far with cheap quality. To be honest, in terms of cheap stuff, a lot of professionals actually swear by some of the cheapest stuff. A lot of the professionals that I know, who are substantially more professional than I am, right? Like people who are pulling down $100,000 a year, swear by Speedball. And Speedball is like $8. An entire Speedball set is like $8. And even then, going to wood doesn't really change it that much. I've got a Browse nib, which I actually like. I think the Browse nib is Browse nib holder. And I think the Browse nib holder I have is considerably worse than the Speedball nib holder I've got. Even though one is wood and the other is is plastic. I think the wooden one is considerably worse. It looks neater, but it is it's substantially less comfortable to work with than the speedball, which is plastic, right? The speedball one is cheap plastic. It's not even like nice plastic. It's quite cheap plastic. They probably haven't changed the manufacturing technique since about 1960. So and it has like obvious mold lines. Like they didn't even clean the mold lines. I am tempted to do a mold line cleaning on mine because they're kind of distracting. So it's very calligraphy. You can get away with very, very cheap stuff. The main place where the paper is I'm sorry, where expense matters is paper. Paper is the big one. Paper is the place where I see actual like money mattering. You know, cheap paper really stings. Cheap paper really stings. But even then, like expensive paper isn't necessarily better. But yeah, you can get away with incredibly cheap calligraphy tools. Again, I swear by Pilot, right? By these Pilot parallels, and they're like $15, which is more expensive than a speedball set, which is $8 for an entire set. But it's still, we are comparing this, right, to, I don't know, I'm just comparing this hobby to, okay, my comparison point for like expensive hobby versus cheap hobby is cigarettes. That to me is the dividing line. Cigarettes are, I know poor people, genuinely poor people, who are cigarette smokers, and so I cannot seriously treat cigarettes as a rich man's hobby, because again, I know like legitimately on welfare poor people who are cigarette smokers, and cigarettes, like, that's like a $2,000 or so a year habit. So if a hobby is cheaper than $2,000 a year, that feels expensive to me because I'm a very cheap person, but I really struggle to think of it as a particularly expensive hobby. That is kind of like my dividing line. I feel like I do know people who spend more than $2,000 a year on guitars, but it's kind of hard to do so for more than like 1 year. And so, like, I kind of struggle to feel like guitars are particularly expensive. I feel like I'm being, like, really weird. Chaos Kitty, thank you for the follow. How the cigarettes in the US don't have those traumatic photos. Cigarette labeling is an interesting international phenomenon. I feel like our cigarettes are actually pretty heavily labeled, but maybe that's just because the countries that I have been in other than the US have way higher smoking rates than the US. The US is like the least smoking country I have spent any meaningful amount of time in. And so I feel like our labeling is like pretty intense compared to, say, Japanese labeling. Cigarettes are like way more acceptable in Japan. And I've spent some time in a couple of other a couple of other countries that are like really, really heavy smoking countries. Let me take a look. How many people were countries by smoking rates? 9.6% in the US. Yeah, that's the only country I've spent any amount of time in that's under 10%. I'm looking at this and it's like every other country, it's like 20-30% that I've spent time in. Japan's 16.4, which is on the lower end. Oh, it looks like that doesn't actually correspond, because I think I remember, Ulysses, you telling me that you're Argentine. And that's, you guys are apparently 20%. Yeah, I'm just looking at cigarettes. Holy moly. 40% of Macedonians smoke cigarettes. That's pretty intense. Macedonia is a real country that has ridiculous problems over labeling. It has ridiculous problems over names. Where'd chat go? Whether or not something was historically part of another country has very little to do with whether or not it's independent today. Macedonia is an independent country. There is a part of Greece that is Macedonia, but, like, the US was historically part of the United Kingdom. England was historically part of France. All of the Balkan countries were historically part of Yugoslavia. And many countries were part of, say, the Ottoman Empire or France. You know, Algeria very famously and violently was part of France for a long time. Ukraine was part of Russia at various points, including notably the Soviet Union. Mongolia was part of China for hundreds of years in various ways and levels. These things happen, right? These things happen. Austria was part of Austro-Hungary and was the seat of the Holy Roman Empire, and so whether or not you consider the Holy Roman Empire to be primarily about Austria or about Germany is going to cause a fist fight in both of those countries. Every part of Italy was part of some other country a dozen different times. It's history is not all that important. I am just talking about whether or not they are independently recognized as sovereign states in general. As generally non-controversially recognized as sovereign states. Macedonia is non-controversially recognized as a sovereign state. They get shit from Greece in the EU a whole bunch, but they are generally recognized as an independent country. Real is a interesting question. There's a decent argument that countries in general are not real. That's, however, whether or not you believe that countries in general are not real, does not help you very much when the tax man comes a knocking. Speaking of which, I've gotta apply for a. I gotta finish that up. Same sort with Kosovo. People in groups are very much real. I remember a historian saying that her hypothesis is that countries are fake, but cities are real, which is an interesting way of dividing things. That cities have histories and legacies and all of that, but countries are just whatever. Countries come and go, but cities stay, which I think is an interesting way of slicing things up. And what types of groups is a real question, right? The canonical book on the subject is Benedict Anderson's Imagined Communities, which is one of the more important history books ever written, right? Like in terms of all of the history books that have ever been written by human hands, Imagined Communities is like a top 10 most important one. And I haven't read it in a long time. I should probably give it a reread. And it's about how, the actual people are real, but a people's understanding of itself as a unified group exists primarily in their imaginations. That the main thing that makes me understand myself as an American or a Westerner is a matter of what type of imagination I have and the shared imagination I share with other people with those identities. Tasagore Krushniak, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. And it's interesting to kind of like be aware of how it's Tasogare Krushniak _Krushniak. But thank you. Yeah, yes, hello. Good on you to have the Artemis 2 stream logo. I like that. But yes, whether or not you view yourself as a as like a member of a community, as a matter of a country, that name doesn't look Japanese to me. Whether or not you consider yourself a member of a community is a question of what you accept, right? Like what you accept as being important. And so like we have some like pretty good examples of communities that people have tried to will into existence and not been particularly successful with, right? A interesting one has been European, right? The extent to which people in Europe conceive of themselves as primarily European is a consistent fight. And not everyone agrees with the level to which they are European, right? Pan-Europeanism as a concept was largely a counterpoint, right? It was invented in many ways as a counterpoint to nationalism, right? During the springtime of nations in the 19th century. And I would say it's largely been pretty unsuccessful. As much as there is a European Union, the European Union does not behave in a way that suggests that there is a common identity. That there's a common identity. And they tend to be stable, actually. I mean, I would say the most stable state that has ever been invented is probably Rome, and it was multicultural. They tend to be quite stable. The US is one of the most stable countries going. Like, I know that Americans in particular, like to be like, oh no, but like, America's had one civil war. America has had one civil war, and that compares pretty favorably. I think it's the most stable state we've ever had in world history. I can point to quite a few civil wars that Rome had, but every other state that people have named as a competitor has been less stable. Yeah, America has a bunch of internal tensions, but we've had one civil war, and I compare this pretty favorably to, like, I'm trying to think of, like, what's a good example. You know, Germany has, like, a civil war. Germany's only 100 years old. You know, I think the US is quite... I don't even know how many non-multicultural states there are that, like, last for more than 100 years. I'm not sure I can name one. You know, Austria-Hungary completely failed after the after the end of World War I. And yeah, it had a lot, but it stuck around for a while. Yeah, less than 100. Like, I'm just trying to think of, like, non-multicultural states, like, just in general. Like, what's a non-multicultural state? I'm going through my list of states and I just, like, can't name one. No, China has a larger... China counts themselves as having about 100 ethnicities on their own census. China would count themselves as having like 100. Would count themselves as about 100. And I think it would be pretty unreasonable. I mean, I know Norwegians who count themselves as multicultural, because at the very least they're Suomi. They're Suomi, and they have a higher percent. I think Norway has a higher percent immigrants than the United States. List of countries by immigrants. By immigrant population. Yeah, Norway has a higher immigration rate than the United States. 18.2% of Norwegians are immigrants, and the United States is at 15.2. It's hello Goth Daddy, thank you for the follow. Yeah, the lowest percent immigrant country is Cuba. And Cuba, I think, would generally consider itself multicultural. Second lowest is the Philippines, where the two people in the Philippines that I know the best don't even speak the same language. They're not even from the same, like, yeah, that's the name that people can have. How are you doing? Welcome in. Yeah, Indonesia is a low one. This is a kind of a bad record, kind of bad track. There's something to be, like, Japan usually counts itself as non-multinational, right? As a pretty unitary culture. That would be like a pretty low multicultural country. But it's also it's still pretty young, right? Like, I have several family members who are older than Taiwan or Japan as countries. Tassigor Krushniak, thank you for the sub. That's very generous of you, especially for somebody who just got here. That's very generous for somebody who just got here. And hello, Weabiscuit. Good to see you tonight. Yes, this is a viewer-supported stream. Yeah, I've got family members in their 90s. Yeah. That's pretty easy for me to point out. Seen enough to subscribe. That, I appreciate the decisiveness as an incredibly indecisive person who takes months. Oh, it's sleepy time for you, Weabiscuit? Well, you came to the right stream. You came to the right stream for sleepy times. You came to the right stream. You came to the right stream. Now you've made me stretch. See, all I've done today, I'm thinking about the ancient states, right, is where I know more of. But even then, among, like, modern states, like, stability is a complicated concept, I guess, is actually kind of the more interesting question. Stability is a kind of complicated question. Oh, hype train. Okay. Yeah, Italy is quite young. Yeah, Egypt is... I'm not sure what to say about Egypt, because, like, ancient Egypt gets us to this question of, like, how do we count stability, right? Because, if we're talking about, so, like, the... Ancient Egypt is a very messy one, like, ideologically, because there's a lot of dynastic transitions that we don't quite understand what was happening. So, like, when Pepys II passed away, and this leads to a transitory period, it's kind of unclear. It's kind of unclear what that means for a country. It's kind of unclear what that means for, like, what the Egyptian country was. Because we're not even entirely sure what the Egyptian government was in, I believe that would be the 6th dynasty? I believe was... I'm gonna have to look this up. I can always remember this Pepys II, because he's one of the funniest characters in all of human history. Pepys II Nekafare. Yeah, he was the last king of last king of the 6th dynasty. So it was the 7th dynasty. And from what I've heard from historians, the 7th dynasty, we're not even entirely sure what was happening at a very fundamental level. We have a list of kings, but it's entirely possible that those kings weren't actually like kings at all. That they were a kind of council. That there was a kind of regency council that was ruling over Egypt. We're really unsure. The source base for the first intermediate period is really bad. So it's really hard to evaluate that, right? It's really hard to evaluate what that means. We can take a guess that the Old Kingdom seems to have been pretty stable because we don't have a lot of records of like internal warfare. But again, stability is an interesting question, right? Stability is a really interesting question. And I think the way that some people evaluate stability is often, I think, really wrong. The one that I really like to highlight as a place where that like really tells me that the evaluations of stability feel wrong about is that the oh, we have a raid. Maroksai. Let me give a shout out to Maroksai. What were you up to, Maroksai? What were you up to? And I hope I'm getting that correct, that I'm saying Maroksai like it's an English language name, and it's not Maroshai or Marohai like it is Chinese or Nahua. Wow, that is a lot of alien invasion. Welcome in. Did I get the shout out? Did the shout out work? There we go. There we go. Marok's Eye. Okay, you played marbles on stream. I should do that one of these days. That feels like a good game for me to do on stream. I like to, that feels like a good one. Oh, Kayukuma. I see. Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in, Raiders. For the Raiders, my name is Almantas. I am a former professor of sociology and a current VTuber. I mostly do calligraphy, which is going to be what we'll be doing when I feel like it. That is today's stream content, but we're in our, our early hour of, yeah, I noticed, I saw the name, I was like, I don't know these people, and I know Kayukuma, Kuma's a good guy. We are discussing state stability, because I am a sociologist by training, and I think that there are some wrong ways that we discuss the concept of stability, but we will be doing calligraphy when my hands start to get antsy. So let me say hello to everybody. Hello, Zeonic Playmo 1997. Hello, Fajita Fred TV. Hello, Cloudy One Punk. Hello, Truck Coon PK. Hello, Vesper TV. Hello, Krushka. Hello, Maroksai. Hello, KWC9. Hello, Daddy Packs My Snacks. Hello, Jim200115. Hello, of course, to Kayu Kuma. Hello to MaxMan21212. Hello to all of you, and hello to anybody who felt too shy to send a to use the raid message. But that's a really good raid message participation. You guys are disciplined over there at Maroksai's. Finally, I found what I needed. I'm dyslexic. I have to confess, calligraphy is designed to look pretty, not legible. There's a reason why we stopped using Gothic. So it might make it worse. It might make it much worse. Hello, Galaxy Wolfstar. So you stay here until you go to bed. Perfect. This is a great place, Jim20115. This is a great place to hang out until you need to go to bed. I really try to keep it that way.
Gifted 10 subscriptions to the community.
Oh my goodness. Thank you very much, Wea Biscuits. Thank you very much for the 10 gifts. I recognize some people in there. Sella is a good friend. Zeph Hatun is a good friend. Thank you for the 10 gifted. This is a viewer-supported stream, right? This is a public service stream. This is supported by viewers like you. Saying the numbers must go fast. I will probably call you Jim, but saying the numbers is also funny to me. I think it is actually funny. So I tend to read people's names out very, very literally. I think it's funny to do so. So I tend to keep saying the underscores in people's names for a pretty long time. There's a kind of infamous regular I have whose name is X underscore A underscore N underscore U underscore N underscore A underscore D underscore U underscore. Yeah, Xanadu. Yeah, bug underscore VT. Adding the you say the underscore out loud, but you cannot see it. Also, hello Bugathy. Hello Bugswell. But yes, okay, please have a good night, Weebiscuit. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the 10 gift subs. Yeah, Galaxy Wolfstar underscore. Yeah, it's the opposite of a silent letter. It's an out loud letter that is invisible. It is an out loud letter that is invisible. It's the exact opposite of a silent letter. I think this is a good one. I think this is a good idea. Just like how you're supposed to, just like pronouncing the Prince symbol as the artist formerly known as Prince. That's just how you pronounce that. It's like how the other is invisible. Yes, exactly. And hello, EV Cakes. Hello, EV Cakes. Hello, EV Cakes. Oh, and I'm actually gonna get up and stretch for a little bit. Oh, I have not been keeping up my deadlifts. When will you start Glagolithic script? I don't know Glagolithic script, but thank you for the watch. Thank you for the watch one. The watch streak. Yeah, there we go. Glagolithic. It is in my autocomplete, so I've been here before. It's purple on my Wikipedia, so I've been here before. Okay, this is why I don't know it, is because it's Slavic. I don't speak Slavic languages. Yeah, Vesper. I definitely spent a lot of time pronouncing it as a B, even though I know it's actually similar to the long. My understanding is it's similar to the long S in English. It's the hissing S sound is the way I always understood it, as opposed to the Z, the more Z sound that is more common for English speakers. Well, they do use, possess, right? And that we use the long S there. Or used to. I barely speak English because you're a redneck. That is understandable. I had somebody come in here the other day asking what languages I speak, and I stick by saying that I speak okay English. I tend to say I speak acceptable to okay English. Hello Akshi, and hello. How is the install wizard? How's our local install wizard doing? But yeah, I don't, your main is Dutch, but you still prefer English. There they are, there's Sparkly Anarchy. I was wondering, there's Sparkly Anarchy. Jim, can you confirm for me, this is something I heard, this is a meme that I heard, online recently that I thought was extremely funny, and I don't know how true it is, that the Dutch really hate the Dutch language. I saw some Dutch people saying stuff like, I really hate it when I'm traveling and people speak to me in Dutch. The whole reason why I left the Netherlands was so that I wouldn't have to experience this crap anymore. That is correct. That's very funny. That's a very good bit. That's a very good bit. I will say that I hope it does not offend you too much, Jim, that I use the text to speech that is Dutch for my alerts, notably for the subscribe. There's a subscribe text-to-speech that I use the Dutch text-to-speech because as an American English speaker, Dutch sounds very funny to me. I don't hate Dutch, I just think it sounds very funny. I hope that there are other people who think that English sounds very funny, that thinks American English sounds very funny. Yeah, it says so-and-so just subscribed for 6 months. That's very funny to me. I hope that other people are get as much fun making fun of American English as American English speakers get making fun of Dutch. I hope that this is not a case of just me being mean to another culture for no point. It's a Jim is from a movie. It's from the movie Austin Powers. The second one, I think. Or the third one. So it's from the second or third Austin Powers. And it's a moment of profound hypocrisy. Hello, Miss Mochivis. Hello, Miss Mochivis. Hello, Miss Mochivis. Oh. Hello, Miss Mochivis. I don't know if you saw Miss Mochivis, but my schedule for this week is using your art. Is using your most recent fan art of me. So, I hope you appreciate. I hope that doesn't bother you. Okay, we've got a fight happening in chat. I'll let you guys handle it. Wait until you think about what Europeans think of the French. Yeah. We can go over and take a look at it. Yeah, here's the schedule. Here's the schedule. This art is by Miss Mochivis. So yeah. Blushing while in cosplay wasn't on your daily bingo card. Yeah, you're welcome. Of course, Miss Mochivis, your host. Yeah, we have Biscuit. It looks like Jim and Max are having some sort of duel. I'll let them handle it. I'll let them handle it themselves. That's between the two of them. I try to tell people that I only have so much control over chat. I only have so much control over chat. There's only so much I can do. If people in chat want to fight or make out or whatever, I really can't stop them. You guys are adults here. This is part of the reason why I make this an 18+ stream, is so that I don't have to feel responsible for you guys making bad decisions. You are adults. You get to do what you want. You get to do what you want. You're dressed as Meek. As Meek. Cute. Alright. Ulysses redeemed the Ada Ada. Hold on, let's take a look here. We're about to go into ads, but I feel like starting up the hold on a second here. Let's move this around. Baking bread on stream is kind of not great. I could do it. I actually had an idea to make it a regular part of my content. I actually had an idea to make it a regular part of my content, but I ultimately didn't do so, not because it was hard, but because I couldn't get... it doesn't use up a lot of time. Making bread on stream doesn't use up a lot of time. It's like, in terms of actual time on camera, it's like 10 minutes. You spend like 10 minutes actually making the bread on stream, and then the bread just has to rise, right? The bread just has to rise for a couple of hours. And then you're kind of like, well, what do I do, right? And I had the idea, right? Hello, Ring of Birds. That was the idea. Was that I was going to have I would have another camera, right? I would have the camera that's getting my face, and then the hand cam, like you have right now, right? That's two cameras, and then I would have a third camera. I would have a third camera that would be on the bread. And it would be a little picture-in-picture, and it would be off to the side of the screen, and you would just watch the bread rise. Here was the problem. It turns out that cameras use up a lot of USB. They use up a lot of USB power, throughput really. And the camera, my USB hub only has a master amount of only has so much, right? Only has so much throughput that it can handle. And if I did that, it's the USB hub crapped out. The USB hub crapped out. Okay, I have to. There we go. Ooh, that is pretty interesting, Wasteland Mad God. Let's just start warming up. Oh, geez, this ink is wet. That is some bleed. Holy moly. I've done origami. Actually, I have origami paper, like 5 feet away. All right, Nico Fortis fan 6967. Have a good night. Have a good night. Not because it was easy, but because we thought it would be easy. Bread is pretty easy. I think. Not super special, not that special. There's a couple of things that that help with calligraphy paper. The most important thing is that it's cut the right way. I can't do calligraphy with this I could kind of do calligraphy with this paper, but it's really annoying because it's not cut into squares. And so I'd have to cut it into squares. The other thing is that you want it to be treated paper, not untreated paper. This is untreated paper, which is useful for a variety of reasons, but for origami, it absorbs too much oil from your fingers. Yeah, Tassagar, you walked into that one. You walked into that one. Yeah, you walked into that one. Yeah, Ulysses is from America, the South. But yeah, I could, we're going to be in ads, and I'm going to get up and stretch and run and get some water when those hit. Someone's like, oil? America? Yeah, my the United States is invading my hands because they're oily. I don't have as much problem with hand oil as some people. I'm a kind of greasy boy. But, like, Versa has to wear gloves when he's writing. And thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. Yeah, this is my handwriting. This is what I do. And we're going to do some warm-ups, and then I'm going to make a sheet to thank the raiders. I always like to do an... okay, we're going to go over to the ad break now. Everybody get up and stretch and get some water and enjoy the fan art. I'll be back in just a minute. All right, we're back. Boom, flashbang. Okay. Oh, that reminds me, chat. Hold on a second. Let me just finish up this O. Well, I've got you here. Flashbang's favorite way of knocking. Of course. Where do I have it here? Not Throne. Not Discord. Not Oshimark. Interesting. Okay, well, I don't have it set up as an auto shoutout. If you would like to commission me, I do take commissions. $3 per word for the final products. So that reminds me, I need to reevaluate these guidelines. I've been using these guidelines for a couple of weeks now. And should change them a little bit. But yes, I do $3 per word. And I may have figured out a solution to... I've been doing these entirely digitally because I want to protect my address. But I think I have figured out a way to do so, to mail out calligraphy in a way that protects my address. Oh, Owen Aeon! Thank you, Space Cat Raid. Thank you, Owen Aeon. Hold on, let me Sparkly Race Cat Raid. Sparkly Race Cat Raid, not Space Cat Raid. Sparkly Race Cat Raid. Is that... What flag is that? Is that your flag? Let me give you the shout out. Owen Aeon. What were you guys doing? For the Raiders, my name is Almantas. I am a former professor of sociology and a current VTuber. It's your own flag. Gotcha. And hello, Sunspout, and hello, Runic Fiend. How are you doing? What were you doing? I am Almantas. I'm a former professor of sociology, a current VTuber, an old man who loves old things. I mostly do calligraphy, like you see it on screen. This is how I do it. This is what I do. I also paint miniatures and I play weird old games. Last night I was playing Rise of Legends on stream. Creature Kitten. I've heard about Creature Kitten. I saw some people playing it. It looks very cute. I liked it. I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. From what I saw. And yeah, I like to play some kind of weird games. I played an old RTS on stream. I play Kerbal Space Program. Tomorrow is going to be Timberborn, a post-apocalyptic city builder about beavers. But yes, I hope you had a good time. I hope you had a good time, Mr. Aeon. Yeah, another 12-hour beaver stream. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna be beaving. We're gonna be beaving tomorrow. But yes, if you need to raid and run, feel free to do so. If you would like to stay here and relax, this is usually a pretty good stream to try to stay and relax in, I think. Gotta be looking at prepare for dread job interview. Good luck, Akshi. Good luck, Akshi. Yeah, I have not put several hundred hours into Kerbal Space Program. I think I qualify as a newbie in Kerbal Space Program. I have managed to land on the moon several times and even do a rescue a stranded Kerb from the moon. And in fact, that's actually where I am currently at in Kerbal Space Program. But, you know, we're at dozens of hours, not hundreds of hours. I haven't managed to land on Minmus. I've done a Minmus orbit. I've done a Minmus orbital flyby. But haven't actually landed on there. Yeah, I love Kerbal Space Program, actually. I actually really like Kerbal Space Program. And I'm currently debating whether or not I should play Kerbals off stream, because I've been playing it entirely on stream. But I think my Kerbal Space Programming has hit a bit of a wall. And I don't think it's super interesting to watch me play it at this precise moment. I think I'm kind of like stuck a little bit, and I need to like do a bunch of kind of unfun to watch experimentation. So it's one of those games where like I'm like reserving my playtime to do it on stream, and I might not continue to do that. I also tend to think that people find it way more exciting to watch me do things for the first time than I think it actually is. Hello, Kiro. Hello, Kiro. Welcome in. Good to see you here. Good to see you here. Also, who was it? Also, Runic Fiend, thank you for the follow, and I didn't catch it before, but Eneo, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. I didn't catch it before. Jim got no ads. That's fascinating. Jim got no ads. Gerbil Space Program is so much more terrifying than Kerbal Space Program. Poor Gerbs. We do not treat the Gerbs well. Hello, Matthew. Hello, Matthew. Hello, Matthew. Also, yes, Vesper, this is, I'm sure that you can see looking at this why I consider this kind of a dyslexic's nightmare. I do need to redo my guidelines, because my guideline sheet is considerably smaller than the sheets of paper I'm writing on. So I have to, like, realign it constantly. So I need to, like, redo these. But it requires going to the printer, and that's kind of the annoying part. The limiting factor isn't even the expense of printing, it's just the, like, getting to the print shop. If you said jumped instead of jumps, and the first thing you got to use. Hugest, most horrifying S you could imagine. Yeah, the cool S. I figured you meant pangram. I wasn't sure what you're doing with acrostic there. I figured we were talking about pangrams. That's what I figured. What was I looking for? What was I even looking for? Well, let's just do the worst word. The worst word in Gothic. The meme word for Gothic. So I like the sound that this pen makes on the paper. There's a scratching sound that the pen makes on the paper. And I quite like it. But... And I've thought about setting up a microphone. I'd have to set up a second microphone. But I've thought about setting up a microphone to pick up that sound. Right? To pick up that sound. And I've always wondered if that would be really annoying. I like it, but I... minimum. And make sure you guys aren't getting some audio bleed. Good, okay. There we go. Contact piezo microphone. Interesting. I'm not familiar with the piezo microphone. The microphone that I was thinking about using would be a I've got an SM58. I think an SM58 that I pointed near directly downwards. That's not what I'm using right now. I am using a CAD E40, but it's not particularly directional. It's not a particularly directional microphone, but the SM58 is highly directional, and so it will lose my voice if I move my head a normal amount. So I was thinking I would use that and instead, and let's get this party. Let's get the second part of the story. Actually, hold on a second. I should change my stream info. Let's change it to. Let's go to art. Let's go to art. I feel like calling this art for now. How much is a piezo mic? How much is one of these? And how would I connect it to my computer? I'm making a judgment call that I suspect I will get less than 10 raids today. That seems reasonable. Really, I'm kind of making a judgment call that I'll get less than 3, 4, 5, 6... less than 7 raids. That seems reasonable. I've gotten more than that on these streams, but we're an hour and a half in. I've only gotten 2, so I think I should be safe with this assumption. It's Nanomancer. Ooh, okay, okay, that might be valuable. That might be viable. That might be viable. I'm pretty hesitant to try out tech tricks that are like $100. But $10? $10 with a mono jack? I can fuck with this. I can fuck with this. Okay, okay. How are you doing, Nanomancer? How is the Mance who Nyans doing today? I am definitely one of the people least likely to get into a music career. Out of like all of the people you know, Kiro. I am one of the people least likely to do so. Been researching coffee machines. What have you learned? What have you learned about coffee machines? Yes, that is fair. That is fair. I am not a coffee drinker. I am not a coffee drinker. I tend to avoid caffeine. In general, it tends to give me a headache. So I don't drink coffee. And I also don't like the taste of coffee. Your greatest resource is currently indisposed. Who would be your great resource for this one? I'm trying to think about that. I'm assuming you mean a person, and I'm just like... I feel like Mix has a lot of opinions about coffee machines, but I don't know how practical those opinions are. Nagi? Nagi's going to tell you to buy something that costs $8,000. Nagi's price point for everything starts at like 500% markup. Why I've had constant headache for the last 10 years. Jim, that is terrifying. Why have you had a headache for the last 10 years? Yeah, astigmatism. There's an A at the start of it, but yes, there. Yeah, we usually say it. I'm used to it being astigmatism. I think, but yes, that would do it. That would do it. That would do it. Yeah, you need glasses that have an astigmatism correction, or you could do the absolute sicko mode thing and wear an eye patch. Or a monocle. Yeah, cool bounds. That's a... So I am not a coffee drinker. I'm sorry, I didn't actually finish my thought there. I didn't actually finish my thought. Yeah, Ring of Birds. Yeah, Ring of Birds. It'll mix it up. Mix it up. Wear one contact and one monocle. My brothers are coffee nerds to a certain extent, or at least I would say they're one. They are people. Both of my brothers are much more so than me. People who buy gadgets to solve problems, and the one brother prefers the French press. That is his preferred method. And I have to say, the French press is very elegant to my eyes. LMAO, Jim. Oh, you have astigmatism in your right eye? Yeah. Get a monocle with that corrects for your astigmatism, and then use a contact lens that doesn't correct in your left eye, and you'll be fine. Now worried I'm gonna run out of space here. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I never had to do that. I've worn eye patches as a costume thing, but never for particular medical purposes. I guess I've worn eye patches when like one of my eyes was like hurt, not even like medically. Like it was just like this eye stings. I'm gonna wear an eye patch for a bit. But yeah, one brother likes the French press. The other brother, what does he use? Does he use a Keurig? I can't remember. Hello, Colorblind 1983. The French press is inaccurately named as it makes no crazy French laughter when you use it. Nice. Nice. Imagine if in XP33 you had to fight a giant French press. That feels like the type of enemy that would be in the game. Okay, let me go through and make sure I get we've had 2 raids so far. I'm doing a good job. I'm keeping on track of this relatively early. As an aside, this is one of my oldest pens. How do I want to do this? Okay, let's do, I knew that Kirill would call through. I knew that Kirill would pull through here. That he would know actual things. I've done it a few times on, but I'm always kind of clumsy at doing it. I'm not gonna do it on this sheet. I'll do it on the other sheet once I finish putting in the 2 raider names. So Maroksai. Thank you. It's very sweet. Hello, Itsy Bitsy Bones. Hello, Itsy Bitsy Bones. Last night on stream, Itsy Bitsy Bones revealed themselves to be a psychopath. we were doing the people were doing the meme of the tendency, the little like blue sky trend of games that can like games about me, and Itsy Bitsy Bones listed as their best with friends game Mario Party 2. Insane behavior. Insane behavior. Absolutely evil. Extremely evil of them. Yeah. Like I said, psychopath. That's a great emote, by the way. That's like a gnome hat. That's a great use of emoji language right there. It's old code, but it checks out. My own personal best with friends game was Spirit Island. That's what I put down for myself. And number 2 was Owen Aeon. Oh, Halo's fine. Halo's fine. Jim, that's an insane suggestion. I mean, do it if it pleases you, but do some more research before you just listen to my idea that I came up with offhand, because I thought it was funny. Kirill, that's not true. You've played on. You know what Unfair Flips is. I know that you follow Heather Flowers. I don't know. I would be surprised. I'm used to that one being a fan favorite. Hello, Zamiel Payne. Hello, Zamiel. Kirill, do you remember? Did you see what the April Fool's prank was for Unfair Flips? It's so good. It's so good, Kirill. For people who haven't heard of this, Unfair Flips is a game where it you hit a button to flip a coin. And you can spend money you get from the coin flips to increase the odds of it landing heads up and so on. So for April Fools, it was fair flips. Instead of it being random, it was perfectly deterministic and skill-based. For 24 hours. Just for April 1st. It's very funny. It's very, very funny. I kind of think Heather Flowers is a genius. I remember they had one of the best posts I've ever seen on social media, which was games won't be art anymore once I'm done with them. And Zamiel, I took off the name writing redeem because I now charge for it. It's I don't want something that costs both money and channel points. That feels, I don't want to create like a weird black market of channel points for USD. That feels weird. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I guess I did kind of create a weird black market for raids for USD. That this is functionally $3 for raiding me. That's weird. That's weird to think about. Yeah, I think so as well, Kirill. I think so as well. I think that, like, I don't think that you can really create good art if your motivations are like extrinsic, and that if your motivation is like to create art and be appreciated as an artist, I don't think you're going to create particularly good art. And I also don't think you're going to create particularly good art if you big sip there. If you are trying to create commercial art, I think that you need to be motivated by a desire to make something strange. I don't think people create good art outside of that. Hold on, let me put down. Gonna write down. Today is 04/13. Okay. Let's get out the practice sheet again. Got our practice sheet again. Yeah, that rules. That's good, Kirill. That's good. That's good. That's how you create. That's like a good artistic motive. That's a good artistic motive. Yeah, people should check out Kirill. People should check out Kirill. Kirill knows things about photography and indie music and is cool, unlike me. Unlike me, a guy who knows things about Rome and miniatures wargaming. Did that go through? You can choose to do both. You can choose to do both. There are people who sleep to my stream all the time. It does have the limitation of when the ads come in, you might get woken up by the ad sounds, which is unfortunate. But you'd hardly be the first person to fall asleep watching my stream, and I don't discourage it at all. How much ink is left in this? That's so good, Jim. That's so good, Jim. That's an interesting point, Colorblind. On a heart. Yeah, go to Kirill's channel. I don't know why shoutout didn't work, but it didn't. I didn't even get an error message, it just didn't go through. This pen is almost dried out. Yeah, you have an anti-shoutout hour. You said no thank you, and so you're immune. Okay, I was wondering, yeah, I was wondering, Jim, like, if... Because, like, people who are in, I think... There's a couple of countries, like Russia, where, like, they basically just never get ads because of sanctions. And you can see that the pen is running out of ink right here, right? You can see that's like running low. We're going to ads in just a few minutes. Oh yeah, it's dry. It's dry. That's dry. Maybe I shouldn't have done the sheet with this one. Because I want to clean this one out after it's been... Now this is dry, I want to clean this one out. Because I don't even have the ink that this was filled with before. Are you in Iran? There's not a lot to be seen about that, Itsy Bitsy Bones. I will make a water can. Oh yeah, you said the Netherlands before. I don't think we're at war with the Netherlands. There's not a lot to see. I will start a water can, and then I will just pull it apart and drop it in the water can, and just leave it overnight. That's it. That's all I'm really gonna do. There's not a lot to see. It's not very interesting. I might show it on screen just because, like, the Brownian motion is kind of interesting, I suppose, but it's like 2 seconds. And I think I'm gonna swap over to... I'm gonna swap over to maybe a speedball. Yeah, these are refillable. This is refillable. The way I refill it is this thing. I use a syringe, and I just syringe in ink. Hello, Viro Valkyrie. We're about to go to ads. I need to use the bathroom anyway really badly, so I don't mind that we're getting an ad break. I could use it. I could use it myself. And then we're probably gonna switch to a different pen. Probably a speedball. A dip. That is to say, a dip pen. Yeah, I'll probably switch over to dip. I'm considering not switching over to dip because I've got a couple of... I can do this, you know. This one's got... right? I can swap over to orange of the same pen size. It looks green. Huh. That's strange. This is orange. It's like a very bright orange. This is Fuyugaki. Are you colorblind? 1983? Took me a while to parse the name. Okay, you're colorblind. Okay. Not the only one here. Let's see. What's the green means go? That's a little bit scary here. Okay, the other part of because the cap is green, right? The cap is green. It's the same. Wow. Wow, that's so interesting. That's so interesting. That is so interesting to me. They are nearly opposite colors for me. They are almost as far apart as like black and white for my eyes. Yeah, the coding removal is annoying to me. I never feel like I've done it right. And of course, half of my dip nibs are like rusty, but they actually still write pretty well. Ulysses. Also correct, colorblind. Also correct. Okay. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, get some water. Everybody stretch. I have tried a couple of things, Vero Valkyrie. I've tried a couple of different things. Toothpaste seems to get me the best results. I've tried a couple of different things, and that one's been the best, but that's not the same as, like, good. So... Oh, hold on a second. I just closed a window that I didn't want to close. Oh, no, I don't want to close that. I don't want to close that one. Okay. We'll be back in a few minutes. We'll be back in a few minutes. Well then, hello raiders, I can see what happened here. What were you doing? Hold on, let me give the shout outs here. Let's shout out in order. Lina Zanyo. Yeah, the triple raids. How were you doing, Lina? How are you doing, Ira? How are you doing, Jack? How are you doing, Tairu? How are you doing, Wandering Ghost? And hello, of course, to Inari. The governor was mad at you in Stardew. What is happening in Stardew? Am I going to be getting a Sotek raid as well? Do I need to be prepared for Sotek as well? I was assuming I would not get very many raids today. But welcome in, Raiders. I didn't know that there was a governor in Stardew. Welcome in, Raiders. My name is Almantas. I am Almantas VT. I am a former professor of sociology and a current VTuber. This pen just dried out, so I am going to... His PC died. No. This pen dried out, and this is a pen I need to clean out, because it's had this ink in it for quite a while. So I fired up the camera so that people can see. You can see the Brownian motion, right? You can see the Brownian motion here. He always shows up to steal our best food. I'm using a tissue paper so that I don't get ink all over my hands when I pull the feed and the casing apart. For the raiders, my name is Almantas. You can see the feed here, by the way. I am a former professor of sociology and a current VTuber. I'm an old man who loves old things, and that mostly means doing calligraphy. I am mostly a calligrapher by trade. And so... Today is a calligraphy day. This is what one of my pens looks like disassembled. The Donghak Rebellion. I don't know anything about the Donghak Rebellion. I know about the Dungur Rebellion. I have no idea what the Donghak Rebellion is. It sounds Korean, but I don't want to assume. It sounds... The /S indicates to me that it's fictional. Yeah, it's having a little bath. It's going to be soaking for a while. And I'm going to have to purge the what do we call that? The capsule. I'm going to have to purge the capsule, and it's going to take some more time. Let me put this away. A little bit. So let me get people's names into the register. Do I have any examples that are, or parallels that are similar to our current times? Depends quite a bit. On which things that you're looking for as similarities or parallels, and how... So Jim, that's the Dutch. That's the Dutch TTS. Shikigami Nekomata, thank you for the 3 months. It's very kind. This is a viewer-supported stream. It is supported by viewers like you. So it depends on what you're looking for as, like, similarities, right? It depends on what your notion of similarities is. It's just as bad as our old... It's so funny. It's so funny to me. It's so funny. Okay, Lena's gonna have a pretty long name as these things... Oh my goodness, colorblind.
Colorblind 1980.
Okay, wow. Okay. And Danny 89 Tails, Deku, thank you. Thank you for the raid. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, a bunch of things just happened very close on top of each other, Raiders, so apologies, I'm going to be a little bit slow here. Welcome in, Raiders. My name is Almantas. I am a former professor of sociology, a current VTuber. I'm an old man. I love old things. I am doing calligraphy today. Calligraphy is my main art form. I am a substantially better calligrapher than I am a miniatures painter or an origami artist. Actually, I feel like Inari might know that better than I would. What's the noun form of a person who does origami? Origamist? Origamarita? I don't know. Is origami-sha a thing? Is that a thing? Oh, hello there, son. Wasn't expecting you yet. Ouch. But welcome in, Danny89, Tails, Deku, and Flaming Potato 131. Thank you for the raid. And Insane Asylum. Hello. Yeah. Right before you came in, I got triple rated, and I got and somebody put in 10 gift subs. So it's a. I'm catching up a little bit. What was your stream? What was your stream? What were you doing? The three who rated right before you were doing Stardew Valley as a group. And so I'm getting their names into the register of raiders. And if you're wondering, the ink I had filled up with black ink went dry and is now being cleaned right now. Lean. And if I recall correctly, Zenyo. And I've only gotten one shout out. There's three more people to shout out now. Oh, try not to scared. Ooh, that's pretty good. Your favorite book is the dictionary. That's very funny. Oh, thank you for the workout time, Shikigami Nekomata. I am going to get through the raiders first. But yes, Colorblind, once again, thank you very much for the gift subs. That's very, very kind of you. Oh, you were gone for a while. Okay. That's understandable. What do I do as my hop back into streaming game option, I should say? Because I kind of treat gaming as like a category, as like one category on par with like writing. Oh, I'm gonna run out of space. So I'm gonna do Jack and Teru, you're going to have to share space. The long dark. So I've only taken like one really long break. And that was when I went to Japan. I think I went into calligraphy. Which is like one of the harder streams for me, right? Like I'm doing it right now, and it's one of my more common stream types. And I have really bad ADHD, so I find it relatively demanding. Oh, and thank you, Flaming Potato 131 for the follow. Thank you very much. Jack Nyko. For my people, Jack is one of my fellow Spirit Island players. We played Spirit Island last Wednesday, and we had one really smooth game where I had probably the best luck I've ever had in Spirit Island with a particular god. And then we had one game that was really, really close because I was an idiot and I played very poorly. Oh, Flame Video, have a good night. Yes, I'm a late night streamer. I'm an overnight streamer. Yeah, I think that for a getting back stream, I guess my philosophy is like to do a stream that like is comfortable for you, right? And so if you're already like an intense action gaming streamer, that actually makes a lot of sense, right? I think that makes sense as a like getting back to streaming thing. Because I think familiarity and comfort with your art form is going to dominate over everything else. And for me, the big variables are like gaming versus non-gaming stream, and then is gaming versus non-gaming stream, and then like collab versus non-collab stream is like my big thing. I like to like I like to like hangout streams with my friends. I don't do them all the time. Like this I was not intending to be a hangout stream with friends. Thursday probably will be. I kind of like when I'm doing mini painting, I kind of do like to do those as like I kind of like to have my friends on. An idling diesel engine or a lawnmower lulls me to sleep. Oh, I hate lawnmowers. I am glad that I live in Brooklyn and don't have to mow lawns. I hate mowing lawns. It's really I hate the smell of gasoline. Really, I hate that smell. I think if I had like a true electric, I would probably be a lot less bothered. And I've never hello music drummer, good to see you. And even though I'm pretty up there in years, I've never actually used a push lawnmower. I understand that colorblind. I do actually get that. I like I said, I'm a New Yorker. And I am pretty... I actually kind of like the sounds of the city. And like, yeah, it's like I've got like bad tinnitus and stuff like that. And really bad ADHD. So... like, yeah, like lots of noise can actually be pretty calming for me. The funniest one to me was I have fallen asleep at metal shows. And it wasn't like the show was it wasn't like they were putting on like a bad show. I just like it was just like it was loud and it was dark. It was loud and it was dark, and that was like my brain sign that I should shut down. Okay, Sotek has ended for the night. So oh, but Dodega has not. Dangerous. Sybil and Grimmy are going to keep going past when I'm just thinking about like people who are likely to raid me at this point. I think I might be safe from... This might be okay. Hello, Mix. Yeah, I can. Yes, this is a metal tip. This is stainless steel. Let me give a hold on. I need to. I'm like so behind on shoutouts. And hello, Blue Rose. First of all, let me give quick shout out to Jack Nyko. Yeah, this is steel. I don't really know what calligraphy you can do with. I don't know what else it would be, right? There are. Like I could use reed, but it wouldn't have you wouldn't make a plastic casing for reed, for like a reed stylus. Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Mix. And the last one to give shoutouts to are, my gigantic head is in the way. Nice. The last one's gonna be Danny89tails, so you can see in chat right above you. Danny89tails _ Deku. Thank you very much, Mix. How do I do an 89 in, Thank you. Yes, they're doing a try not to laugh stream. Oh, okay, you finished your wow for the evening. Oh, I'm gonna run out of space here. Didn't think hard enough about how much space this is gonna take up. Let's see if I can do it. Might need to be a little bit crunchy here. Yeah, we're in trouble here. How was the wowing? And also, hello, Mara. Favorite kind of pen? Favorite kind of pen? I like these. To be honest. I like Pilot Parallels a lot. I've been doing a lot of work with Speedball C series the last couple of weeks, and so it's actually causing me to make some kind of weird mistakes. Like this Z shouldn't look like that. Like the Z is a bit of a mistake. The fact that this A is not entirely parallel is because I've been working with the Speedball C series. And those are pretty much all I ever use, are parallels and Speedball C series. Not Pilot Parallels and Speedball C series. Okay, we're gonna have to get really crunchy here. I do use some markers. There are some markers I use. I haven't really settled on a favorite type of calligraphy marker, because I pretty much only ever use them for, like, conventions. There we go. There we go. And you can see I usually write the date afterwards. There you go. There you go. Yeah, I know some people who really like a lot of calligraphers really swear by dip nibs, but oh crap. Got some on my hand. But I mostly, the biggest problem I honestly have with the dips, even more than getting the surfaces right, which is like a huge limitation, right, of using dips, is like the surfaces on them are pretty obnoxious, is hairlines. I find doing hairlines with dips to be really annoying. I hate doing the hairlines on a dip nib. Cleaning is not too bad. Cleaning the parallels is worse, so you just don't have to do it very often. Yeah, it's hard to control and make a consistent look. They're better for some things. They are better for some things. The biggest advantage for dips to my mind as a person who's, writing with a fountain right now, is the ability to change inks really quickly. Right? The ability to change from one ink to another by just swishing around the nib in a bucket of water and then drying it and then putting in new ink. Incredible. It's so much faster, right? It's like 3 to 5 minutes to change ink colors entirely. Yeah, your glitter inks. That's an interesting choice. Yeah, I have some like specific. I mean, I wouldn't do that. Let me get Wandering Ghost. Thank you for the follow. Miniature bow and arrow out of a big pen and a rubber band. I did that. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, rubber bands are incredible. It's crazy to think that like a lot of people lived pre-rubber band. You're all good, Wandering Ghost. You're all good. There's not like a real objective here, right? I do kind of want to work on my U's a little bit, my lowercase Gothic U's, because I haven't been I haven't been happy with them lately. No glitter inks I like. Honestly, I feel really bad because I have some friends who are like pretty enthusiastic about, I forgot the T here, about inks and stuff right now, and my current status on my relationship with inks is that I'm actually just really frustrated with all of the ones I'm using. And so I don't so much have inks that I like right now, so much as inks that don't antagonize me as much as others. And at the moment, that's a Roshizoku. At the moment, it's a Roshizoku. All of my other inks have been making me pretty cranky for the last like 6 months to year. I have been like, even this is feathering fairly badly, right? And like every other ink I have either like doesn't flow for crap or feathers like crazy, and I don't know what is going on. It's been, I think I might just be like cranky lately. Hello, Sabork. Yeah, I can't even imagine wanting to play around with a glitter ink right now, because I am just trying to get inks that like deposit on the paper in a consistent, reliable way. I have not tried Shikiori. I will say it's not like I'm not making a very fast movement on this because it's expensive. But what I want to do is, what I want right now is I want one bottle of every Eroshizoku, which is going to be like $200. It's going to be like $250, $300. Oh, yes, feathering. This N is feathering really badly. I don't know how obvious it is on the camera. I don't know how much the camera is picking it up. Let me try deactivating and reactivating it. That looks a little bit cleaner. Okay. So if you can see that's like, this should be 2 straight lines. Ladies Wolfpack, thank you for the follow. These should be like 2 completely parallel lines that are just clean, right? You can see that the same line on this I is cleaner than on this N. And that's because I switched over... yeah, the ink is bleeding. Bleed is usually through this axis. Bleed is usually like vertical, and feathering is like horizontal. So that's basically the gist. Is that not just a problem with the paper? No, Gorath. It is a combination problem of ink and paper. Different inks different inks and different papers will play together differently. So this ink, that's part of the reason why I've been using, it's like the ink is too runny. This N feathered a lot worse than later letters because this was the first time I used this pen in a while. So there was like extra ink basically at the nib of it, at the tip of the nib. If I'm writing more consistently and more quickly, it'll be less obvious because there'll be less ink at the tip of the nib. But if I'm writing slowly like I am right now, you'll see more of it. I am also fairly unhappy with my papers, though, Gorath. You have anticipated that. This is Strathmore sketch paper. I have been trying out a bunch of different papers because for a long time my go-to paper was Rhodia. And they changed the Rhodia paper formula. And it has been driving me nuts. And in particular, this black ink that I am at the end of. This is some of the last time I'm going to use this particular black ink. This was the Sailor Black. The Sailor Black has been giving me so much trouble. And I'm really actually glad to be done with it. And be going over to Mori Roshizoku. Yeah, it could be the paper formula. You can actually be even the humidity in the day affects it. More humid days make it worse. And there's also a difference where the further down on the page, the worse it gets. And I'm kind of curious. I know that Versa, if he's here, knows exactly why. Viro probably knows as well. Why do I get worse feathering at the bottom of the page than at the top of the page? Yep, Gorath's got it. Oil from my hands. Oil from my hands. Mine is not normally so bad that I worry that much about it. lazy effect. Not the heat. It's the oil. It's the oil. There are gloves that I can get. They would just cover like my like here and here. I could do that. Yep. And hello, Vex. Hello, Vexing Cat. Also, hold on. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Vexing Cat. This is a really, really you orange, Vex. It's a really you orange. How are you doing, Vex? How are you doing, Vex? How are you doing? Vexing Cat, my folks should know, my viewers should know, she does very relaxing reading streams. She reads a lot of classic literature. But yeah, now I just started up this pen again after a few minutes of talking. And you can see it's very wet right now. Yes. Yeah, no, check her out. What have you been reading recently? Yeah, it can be the tooth of the paper. I've been doing untreated papers because they have better tooth, and so there's kind of a bit of a trade-off for how I write that I just kind of have to accept. Since I'm using these really huge broad nibs, right? I'm using these really broad nibs. I kind of have to accept that there's going to be a bit of a trade-off between paper that the pen nib grips too easily and paper that bleeds a lot. Like those are like the paper that grips to my pen easily that has like a good tooth. Yes, Gorath has it. It has bigger fibers and those will cause more of it to get sucked away. But I tend to prefer things that are a little bit toothier over smoother because they are because the startup annoys me a lot more. I find it much more annoying to put my pen down and have to repeat the stroke multiple times than I do to try to have to move fast and avoid feathering. Hello, Kiriko. Somebody asked about Tomoe River. The reason why I'm not using Tomoe River is because I haven't found a good price for it. I am still feeling pretty experimental because, again, for like 10 plus years, I was on Rhodia and then they changed what they were doing and it wasn't, and it's made me mad. And I've so far not settled on something I really like. I'm probably going to continue with the Strathmore until I finish it off. I don't know what I'll do then. The Strathmore is untreated, and so that's causing a lot of this feathering is because of the untreatedness, but I do like the toothiness. And yes, Vero, you are correct. That's what I've been doing right now in front of you, Mr. No Talk. That's what I've been doing right now in front of you. I do prefer consistency. I mean, again, that's why I like Orochizoku. Orochizoku inks are, I think most people would consider them, who are like ink and pen and ink nerds, that Orochizoku inks are kind of low in character, that they don't have a lot of like interesting sheen or shimmer or anything like that, but that they're consistent. And I am really prizing consistency right now. How to explain this? So I can run my finger over this and I can feel texture on it, right? It doesn't feel perfectly smooth. I am talking about them not being perfectly smooth, which causes the pen to grip onto it more readily and start depositing ink more reliably. And a paper that is smoother on the surface of it will not absorb things quite as readily. At least that's my understanding of it. I'm not an expert myself. I am a craftsman, and these are tools that I work with. I am sure that an actual, like, paper crafter would know things that I wouldn't. Low character, but yeah. Oh, colorblind, have a good night. I love the Orochizoku inks. And Final Treatment. Yeah, Final Treatment is a big part of it. God, I wish that were me. Hello, Nanomancer. Hello, Nanomancer. And yeah, I haven't read... the only kink thing I really remember from Gulliver's Travels was, bondage and, like, size difference. Those are the two things I remember from that. I don't have a good memory of how sexual they felt in context. They probably felt very low sexual to me. I tend to be pretty oblivious to this kind of stuff. I have a very distinct memory of reading Cass Marshall's talking about Warframe, and they were like, wow, this is horny. And I was like, I've been playing Warframe for years and I did not notice. I did not notice that it was particularly horny. Which apparently puts me in a minority. I told you I'm pretty oblivious to a lot of stuff. Maybe I'm just not very smart, right? Oh, bondage, size of degradation. I can see that. I forgot about the foot part. I definitely did. I never notice when people are trying to be horny about scat. I never notice it because it's just instantly gross to me. I'm just like, oh, this is meant to be gross. All right, Jim, have a good night. Have a good night. I'm looking forward to seeing you back. I'm looking forward to seeing you back. I'm looking forward to seeing you back. Oh, crack in the back. Ah, there we go. Yeah, that's definitely a weird one to me. That's not obvious to me at all why somebody would be into that. Or when somebody is into that, I should say. Hello, Itsy Bones. I can see that woke you up. I can see that woke you up. You will not be recommending it to anyone. Okay, okay. That's pretty strong. It might be. It might be. It might be. It's worth saying that again, like, the humidity character, just like of the day, can change it, right? Like just like the sheer like I have used the same pen and ink on the same paper, and it's done better on different days. There's a part of me that wonders if maybe I should move to like, God, where's dry that doesn't suck? I was gonna say like Arizona. I'm like, that's a nightmare. My desire to be in Arizona is like, it's hard for me to imagine a place I less want to be than Arizona. Is Svalbard dry? What about Oslo? Is Oslo dry? California? I found that California fairly humid. Like the hello Dizzy, hello Dizzy. Moving, I was proposing multiple different countries here. I said Oslo and Svalbard. Those are in Norway. Hey Vex, how dry is Alaska? Yeah, I gotta move to like Yellowknife. The Goroth, as a Midwesterner who has moved to New York, you have no idea. You have no idea how bad it can get. You have no idea how bad it gets out here, man. You have no idea how bad it gets out here. Oh, so yeah, I can see that. I can see that. It makes sense to me, Dizzy. I'm gonna practice use a whole bunch because my use have been bad lately. New York, I love my city. I love my adopted homeland. I am a patriot of Goroth it can. I would describe New York's climate as 9 to 10 months out of the year it is sweating on you. One of those things is actually really crazy to learn as a Midwesterner, as a former Midwesterner. All of the snowiest cities in the US are in northern New York. The snowiest cities in America are Rochester, Syracuse, and Buffalo. None of those are in the Midwest. They're all in New York. But New York City is on the ocean. New York City is a coastal, is a port. Which I forget about, right? Like, it doesn't smell like the sea, so I forget that I'm living in a port. Oh yeah, you guys get colder all the time. Yeah, you guys get colder all the time. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, all the time. No. New York, weather, temperature-wise, New York is pretty modest. Temperature-wise, New York does not have especially bad weather. New York's just, like, way more humid. Exactly. Yeah, -50 is so... It never gets to -50 out here. One of my favorite ways to freak out people on the East Coast has been to tell people that like, yeah, like the difference between -20 and -30 is that, like, you just kind of feel like you're going to die a little bit faster. like I know quite a few people who have never been in negatives, have never been at a negative Fahrenheit. Only like negative 2. Yeah, I've spent entire weeks at negative 30. Which doesn't happen in New York. I don't think we got below. I don't know exactly, but I feel like we didn't get below negative. We didn't get below like positive 20. Weather should not be a teenager's. Good news, negative 20 is not. Negative 20 is not a teenager's age. The thing is, I actually love the cold. Oh, I can't imagine living in LA. I want it to like never be. I want the temperature to be between 40. I want the temperature to be between 20 and 60 year round. That's like a comfortable temperature range to me. It's like high of around 60, low of like 20. Maybe 0. Maybe 0 I'm fine with. I like being cold though. There we go. Finally did a U I'm happy with. Hello, Chocolade. There's only so much you can take off. It's true. Yeah, I like wearing big chunky sweaters like my model wears, and I can't wear that above like 50 degrees. Let's see if this helps. Oh, and Chocolate, the mission that I failed last night on stream, I fired it up off stream like immediately right after, and I did fine. What's going on with my technique here? Yeah, streamer unluck. I mean, part of it was like lack of being warmed up. Part of it was being distracted by the fact that I was on stream. There are things where I think I'm better at when I'm on stream than when I'm off stream. I am a worse calligrapher on stream than I am off stream. I will tell you guys that much. Like the level of lock-in I have to do to get to like actual high level calligraphy would mean I just like would not talk at all the entire stream. I would just be like completely dead silent. which is not good streaming, right? Not that it's worthless for me to be here, but when I'm doing commissions, I need to be silent. The machines. Oh, okay. I have never made chocolate that required a machine. The chocolates that I have ever made, when I make chocolate, I'm very lazy. I'm doing very simple chocolate making. I boil some water, and then I put a a metal bowl in there with all the ingredients in it, and I hand stir. That's the only way I've ever made chocolate. Is the double boiler method. Make him jump and make an ugly line across the page. I have pretty much set it up, oh, that's very sweet of you, Ladies Wolfpack. I hope to see you again soon. Tomorrow is not going to be a art stream, but Thursday will be. Tomorrow is going to be a beaver stream. You're fine, you're fine. I thought you meant to, like, complain, Ed, and I was like, yeah, complaining's fine. I think complaining is a perfectly fine social activity to do. I really appreciate the piece of, what do we call that? Yiddish vocabulary that we've adopted on the East Coast of vetch. I think vetching's very good. I think vetching is very good. Oh, that's crazy, Chocolate. Yeah, no, I buy cocoa powder and I use cocoa powder and coconut oil and sugar is basically how I make chocolate. Goroth, it would be very hard, but not impossible. I'm pretty calm under pressure, and I have set up my stream so that there's nothing really sudden. Because that annoys people, I have found. My raid alert sound used to be a thunderclap from the Adobe Sound Library. And I didn't think it was that disruptive, but people did complain. People did complain, and that's like the most... So whatever the current raid sound is probably the most disruptive thing you can really do. Oh, I do owe somebody a workout. I do owe somebody a workout. I haven't done it at all. I'm going to do a... Okay, stretching my back, and now I'm going to do some squats, and then we'll go to ads. 1... Goroth, if you told me that somehow Kissinger returned, that might get me. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the left leg done. Right leg squats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Okay. I am gonna go dump out this water can because it's making me nervous to have a bunch of inky water on, like, right next to where my calligraphy is and my electronics. So I'm gonna go dump that out while we're on the ad break. I'm gonna stretch. Everybody stretch, get some fresh water. I will see you all in a few minutes. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience. Woohoo. I'll probably be the last ad break, just letting people know. Probably be the last ad break. Because my back is kind of killing me. My back is kind of killing me. And that's a significant limiting factor for me. I saw 3 messages from you, Dizzy. Does anybody have any fun facts they would like to share? You want to hear some fun facts? And then, wait, does stream chat need to be reset? And then, my last message decided not to appear. One of my favorites is... Oh, hello? Is there a problem? What's up, Vex? Is there an issue? Yes, you may. You might want to either DM it to me or send it in the suggestions Discord, because if it is in chat, I will not remember. My memory is not good enough. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dear. Or you could put it on my throne. That's a funny option. Decent U here. Yeah, I don't know why U's are giving me more trouble than other letters. My parallel, keeping the lines parallel is a really huge percentage of what you're trying to do with Gothic. And I'm, like, you can see this U is just, like, canted. And, like, why are U's giving me so much more trouble? Right? Like... Like, see, that's already not parallel. Why is the U worse? My U is worse than my N. It's strange. This is so weird. This is so strange to me. But yes, Dizzy, a good fun fact is that the inventor of the saxophone had so many brushes with death when he was a child that his own mother said, "That poor child, he will not live." And the neighborhood referred to him as Young Sax the Ghost. Yeah, mine definitely are. I'm having a parallels problem. Yeah, Adolf Sax. Yeah, Adolf Sax. Yep, they called him Young. They called him the Ghost, which I always find really funny because he had so many brushes with death. See, this W is better. Young Sax the Ghost, also a great reference. So true. And he lived. That's the funniest part. Imagining not only living, but, like, being immortalized afterwards. Like he proved the haters wrong. Like, see, this W doesn't have this problem. The U looks really messed up, but the W is fine. Also, my mount strokes aren't looking right to me today. I'm going to be a little bit tighter. I actually can't fit in another row, so whatever. Just going to do a full row of views down here. What is going on with me? I think these vertical lines are actually making me worse. It's fine, Dizzy, don't worry about it. There's not really like a topic here. Yeah. I do think that the these are new guidelines. I haven't used these I've only been using these guidelines for a few weeks. And I think that the guidelines having vertical lines is actually making me worse. I mean, if you want to talk about a current event, there is a current event that I'm kind of interested in. And I've been kind of like, because I've been streaming harder and my other job has been a little bit more intense, I haven't been as clued in as I usually am on these kinds of matters. So what specifically happened with the Iran negotiations? Like, I know they failed. But, like, I didn't hear, like, what specifically was the thing that caused the breakdown. Glittigography? I don't actually know the term glittigography. So I probably don't actually have an opinion on it. Yeah, I'm sorry. It looks like you may have spelled something wrong. Just hanging out. Calligraphy. Oh, okay. I don't know. I know a little bit about ancient Roman writing. Okay, I know a little bit about it. I'll just, so like we have two types of script that we get from ancient Rome. We have, we've got what you think of as like Roman capitals, which are like those are a brush one. Those are a brush one, but there's also rustica. Which, like, rustica looks like this. And here's a rustica U. So the connection between ancient Roman scripts and modern scripts is like kind of a little bit confusing, right? So like Roman capitals, the kind of things like Times New Roman you think about, those did lead to the reforms in calligraphy towards humanist scripts. Yes, you are correct, Vero Valkyrie. Hello, I Ooze Arts. Thank you for the follow. Remember, Vero, that the Romans don't have a distinction between V and U. They're just the same letter. They just don't have a separate U and V in Latin, in classical Latin. They're just the same thing. There's also no W. Oh, Isabella! I thought so. How are you doing, Izzy? How are you doing? It is good to see you, my lady. I'll give you a quick shout out because I thought your name was something different. This is the nerdiest thing you've ever seen. Don't worry, Izzy. We can get worse. So, and on the concepts of the Latin ones, In French, they call W a W. Yeah, W is a very recent letter in the history of these things. I always worry about talking about this on stream because it's one of those ones where like I never remember it enough. I never remember it enough. And yeah, it is very funny that we call it a W and we don't use we don't use it as the vowel form like the Welsh do. And it's also worth saying, right, Vero, that usually I kind of made this look a little bit more V-like than I usually do, because usually I kind of bow. It's usually more straight, or I kind of bow it out a little bit more rather than bow inwards. But it doesn't really matter. It's recognizable. But yeah, so the connection, right, to this and eventual later calligraphy is going to come through. There's kind of two other things, right? There's a Greek. There's Greek uncial. Right, there's Greek uncial, which this is a very bad uncial. There are other people. This is a very bad uncial. I literally have not used uncial in years. Yeah, this is my handwriting. Sorry, sorry. Yeah, no, this is my handwriting. This is how I write. This is what I do. This is what I do. Thank you, Izzy. That means a lot. Izzy is a much better artist than I am overall. But yeah, Greek uncial leads. I don't know how obvious this is into Carolinian and Insular. If you've read old scripts, you've probably read Carolinian and Insular. Even if you haven't read old scripts, you've probably read Insular, because that's like, Insular is the like, you are trying to make things look Irish script. Insular is the, if you read something that's like self-consciously trying to look Irish, you use Insular. Insular Island. No, this is the every terrible thing. Izzy, you have only been kind to me. You have only been kind to me. Yeah, no, Isabella's only been kind to me. Yeah. I don't think anybody. I think very few people in VTubing have said anything bad about me. Yeah, good old Gaelish. Okay. Just Hanging Out has asked a pretty interesting question. I'm kind of grateful for it because it gives me an excuse to write less as I get a little bit tired. The limiting factor, in case, this is one of those things I always find really funny, the limiting factor on my ability to do calligraphy streams is my back. I've got old man back. And so, okay, so I'm just gonna kind of finish up these thoughts I had about, like, the writing. Yeah, there is a developmental line between, so like Rustica and Insular kind of combine and they lead to Insular and Carolinian, and then Carolinian turns into Gothic, and the connection between Carolinian and Gothic is actually kind of clear. Like, once you see Carolinian, you can see Carolinian as a kind of like middle point between all three of these scripts I've got down here at the bottom. So that's something I think is kind of useful. But yes, the Han Dynasty and ancient Rome didn't really have a lot of contact. They had pretty minimal contact between each other, and the reason for that is pretty straightforward. The logic there is actually pretty easy. Ancient Rome, they're very far apart. As far as I know, there were no Chinese who actually got to Rome. We do know at least 2 Romans got to the Chinese court. Fajita Fred TV, thank you for the follow. Also, I don't know why the follow sound didn't trigger. We do know at least 2 Romans got to the Han Dynasty. It is worth saying that they got to the Han Dynasty, like, I think it was like 170, 180 CE when they arrived. And I'm talking about ancient Rome. I don't know how much people know about Chinese history, but if you know about Chinese history, 180 CE is, there's a reason why there wasn't a lot of follow-up. The Han Dynasty functionally completely implodes over the next 20 years in that time frame. That is at like the very tail end of the Han Dynasty, like having any sort of bureaucratic functionality. If you have ever heard of the video game Dynasty Warriors, that's about when Dynasty Warriors starts. That is about when Dynasty Warriors starts, is around 180. And so the Romans didn't actually leave much of an impression. We know that they were Romans, and we know that they got to China. They did not bring any particular trade goods, and that would have been noteworthy to the Chinese, because we know what they wrote down. We know what they wrote down. They wrote down that the Chinese wrote down that these Roman diplomats brought nothing special. And the So the thought that has been made by a lot of historians is that because the travel from Rome to China means going to Egypt and doing a portage. They probably were actually Egyptian Romans. They probably started in Cairo, and then left via the Sinai, right? They probably left via the Sinai, went around the Horn of Africa, landed in India, where there was a lot of Roman contact in India. Restocked in India, had to wait for the trade winds to change, go around India through the Strait of Malacca, up Vietnam, up to China, and the thought that many historians have had that I am familiar with on the subject believe that the Romans probably did have some special trade goods that would be impressive to the Chinese. Like sea glass was something that the Chinese really valued that was made by the Romans, or just regular glass, right? These things were things that the Chinese could not make that the Romans could make, and those didn't make it to China. And they probably did have those. They were probably just lost in transit. They were probably just lost in transits. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things that are between China and Rome, the most important of which for most of these purposes being the Persians. And to finish up my thoughts on what Just Hanging Out was saying, there are a couple of reasons why the Romans did not continue to just keep conquering the world. One of those things is that the Romans couldn't conquer the Persians. And they just couldn't. This is something that they tried to do a lot and consistently failed at. The Persians tried to conquer the Romans and also consistently failed at that, for that matter. This was not Rome was just this little baby that couldn't compete with the Persians. It's that actually conquering territory requires a lot more than just being able to win battles. And the two of them were pure competitor powers, and they were not fragile peer competitors in the same way that the Achaemenids were to Alexander, or that the successor states were to the Romans. The successor states completely implode on contact with the Romans. They stand no chance. They get completely rolled. And they could win. They both could win battles. They could not conquer each other. And a lot of that just has to do with geography. Not in the usual sense that people use in military theory, where they mean the geography was just hard, but that the geography was distant. The Persian heartland was, unsurprisingly, in Persia, and the Roman heartland was Egypt and Greece and Western Anatolia. And in between those is places like Eastern Anatolia and Syria and Iraq. And so the wars that they all fought were over those regions, and those regions, particularly Syria, would change hands many times. But being able to project out your base of power into Syria is one thing. Being able to project out from Syria into Egypt or into the Persian highlands is another. That's what really happened, right? Is that the ability to project power over those kinds of distances was something that was out of reach of both of them. And if the Persian highlands were out of reach of the Roman Empire, the North China Plain definitely was. The North China Plain definitely was. Usually not completely rolled, I would say. The terms that I hear from historians are terms like shattered. That's a common one. Disintegrated. Evaporated comes up. Those ones come up. Yeah. To give a sense, right? I'm just kind of on the military history kick for the moment here. Yeah, it is. It just is. They actually do use those terms. So at the start of the going back, I need to make. I think I've got a slideshow for this. I need to use. I should have like a quicker one for this on hand. Yeah, completely rolled. Definitely a Gen Z term. There were 5 superpowers. There were 5 superpowers in the Mediterranean, right? There is Rome, there is Carthage, there is Macedon, there's, that is to say, the Antigonids, there's the Seleucids who are in Anatolia and Persia, and the Ptolemies in Egypt, okay? So these last 3 are the successor states. And then the first 2 are republics, are extremely militarized imperial republics. And the wars between Carthage and Rome are, I mean, the First and Second Punic Wars are the most apocalyptic wars of ancient Europe. They just are. They're insane by comparison to everybody else. Both sides are mobilizing like 150,000 guys a year. Meanwhile, the successor states, for bureaucratic reasons, for structural bureaucratic reasons. Yes, they were the Punic Wars. Yes. Did I not say that? I thought I said the Punic Wars. Yeah, the First and Second Punic Wars are apocalypses, all things considered. The successor states, the Antigonids, the Seleucids, and the Ptolemies, plus there are the minor successor states like Pergamum, but we'll leave those alone for a second. For structural bureaucratic reasons, those states can't really get above 100,000 total mobilization, and getting above 50,000 is difficult. And importantly, the depth of their mobilization is quite weak. The Antigonids only have Macedonia, and they are able to go peer-to-peer with the Seleucids repeatedly because the actual limiting factor in all of these countries is their access to Macedonian heavy infantry. And there's only really, and even so, and you, if you can get 30,000 of those, that's enough to make you a superpower in this contest. Meanwhile, we're talking about the Romans who are getting 150,000 of better quality heavy infantry. So when the battle of, so there's like a little bit of back and forth where it feels to everybody like Rome is just another pure power. And then the Battle of Pydna happens. The Battle of Pydna in 168, which is one of my favorite battles to talk about. It's a minor special interest of me. Mostly because there are some really good papers on it that are open access that I've done lecture streams on. The Battle of Pydna is so one-sidedly in favor of the Romans, and it comes after the heels of the Romans winning some other major battles against the Seleucids, that from that point on, from 168 BC onwards, the Romans really are kind of no contest against the other successor states. So by 168 BC, there is no longer a Mediterranean contest. In 200, let's say 220 BC, right? Let's roll all the way back to like 220 BC. There is a contest, right? In 220 BC, there are 5 superpowers, and by 168, there is 1. Thermopylae? Yeah, you asked what my favorite ancient battles are. Like I said, Pydna. Pydna's probably my favorite ancient battle. My thing about the Battle of Thermopylae is that at the time, by ancient Greek standards, by the standards of the people who lived through it, the Battle of Thermopylae was a Persian victory. The Battle of Thermopylae was a Persian victory and was in particular a strategic defeat for the Greeks, for the Greek alliance. Unless you're asking about the other Battle of Thermopylae, which I have less of a thought about. I'll need to remember what happened there. Battle of Thermopylae. Because there's multiple battles of Thermopylae, but the one between the Greeks and the Persians, the Greco-Persian Wars, was considered by the Greeks at the time to be a disaster. It becomes a major it becomes a cause de célèbre later by Laconophiles as a sign of like talking about ancient Greek wherewithal, but it is a defeat for the ancient Greeks and nearly loses them the war. That is a low point. It nearly caused the entire alliance to dissolve. It very nearly caused the entire alliance to dissolve. So I think that the fact that in English language in America, it is often talked about as a great Greek victory is itself a pretty interesting thing. Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea, just hanging out. I am generally afraid of any time travel options. I really like having flush toilets. That's like a really big deal to me. If I'm going to one for like the case of like learning, there's a couple that we could learn a lot more from. Hello in the woods 25. Hello. Welcome in. I have no idea. It says you're a first time chatter. It does not say who you raided in from. So I don't know. You probably came in on a raid earlier tonight. I don't know from whomst. I think Dacia we could learn a lot from. I'd be really, really curious about what's happening at Cthulhu. Cthulhu would be one of the most interesting ones to learn a lot about. If not 24 hours. Yeah. I'm mostly making it silly about the joke, but if was the one I would wish to learn the most from, like get some like real major learning. Carthage would be high. If we could get a copy of Hanno the Navigator's works, that would be, I think, the single most profoundly world-changing book we could get our hands on. I think that would be the most world-changing book that we are confident exists that we don't have that we could get our hands on. That would be like a top tier one for me. Would be Hanno's navigation, the Hanno the Navigator's works. I think Nazca would be cool. The Nazca we could learn a lot more. I'm not sure just hanging out. 4 is a lot. And it's a good news that it's a very hypothetical thing, so I continue to think about it, right? I know it would really warp people's brains if I could get my hands on a like actual working Roman ballista. That could mess with people quite a bit. It would be good to... There's a lot of Neolithic China that is really interesting. I'm really curious as to what happened there. I'm really curious about what was happening there. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's so many things. Like I said, yeah, like the Clovis. I should know more about indigenous American peoples. I know a little bit. I was talking about Neolithic China. Neolithic China would be... Because China, we are pretty confident, did not all speak anything approaching a unified language for a lot of its history. So if you look at Neolithic Chinese pottery and sculpture, it's really weird. It's pretty clear that China in the Neolithic period had a level of cultural diversity similar to Neolithic Europe. And that over the course of the Bronze Age, that culture homogenized pretty strongly. Yeah, no, I'm still thinking about just hanging out. I don't know that I'll have an answer tonight. Shit! Sorry, I just saw the bodega logged out. shit, I was planning on raiding her. Bodegon, yeah. Bodegone. I hope she wasn't trying to raid me. I hope she wasn't trying to raid me. Yeah, we've got some. We've got some. One of the ones I learned was really interesting recently was that, at Cahokia. At Cahokia, we have evidence of retainer sacrifice. That's actually something I'd really like to learn about, that we, like, do not have good records for. That would be really interesting. Would be being anywhere that practices retainer sacrifice at the time, because we have evidence of retainer sacrifice all over the world, but every single time retainer sacrifice happens, like, shortly before writing and then ceases. Like, retainer sacrifice only ever seems to be going for, like, a couple of generations. It's like a 3-generation thing. Like, ancient Egypt does it for, like, 3 generations and then stops. The Sumerians do it for, like, 3 generations and then stop. And it happens right around the time writing starts to take off. And so I'd be really interested in learning, like, what happened there. Like, what happened there? I have thoughts about why this happened. That the forces that made writing take off as a bureaucratic part of the language and, like, led to writers becoming a powerful part was the same powers that produced kings who were capable of demanding retainer sacrifice, but they used that writing power to make it clear that retainer sacrifice was a bad fucking idea. Because they didn't want to die. Because they didn't want to die. But it's really interesting that retainer sacrifice is independently developed several times and then abandoned on basically the same time scale. I think that's really, really interesting. I think that's really interesting. And I want to know why. What's going through people's heads. There was conflict between indigenous people and Vikings, yes. Yes. But that's not early. Clovis is very far apart from Viking and indigenous contact. We're talking like 15,000 years. Between, like, Clovis peoples and the peoples that the Vikings met. Vikings did have extended contact with the Inuit. We do know they had extended contact with the Inuit, and we know it was highly conflict. It was not peaceful. It was not peaceful. The Vikings and the Greenland Norse and the Inuits did not get along. They definitely killed each other, and the Inuits won. I don't think that Clovis was passed further back. It's that the pre-Clovis hypothesis is now pretty solidly consensus. The pre-Clovis peoples are now pretty firm. Like that used to be kind of a, like, highly disputed theory that people were unsure about, and now it's pretty confident. Now people are pretty confident that and I grew up with, like, that, like, the pre-Clovis hypothesis being treated as a, like, fringe thing, and the Clovis hypothesis being, like, the dominant one. But now seems pretty confident that the pre-Clovis peoples were real. And so I do have, like, a little bit of, like, but no, this is what I learned in school about it. I learned that the Clovis peoples were the first Native American peoples, but it looks like that's probably not true. It looks like that is probably not true. Pre-human settlements? I mean, those might have been humans. I don't know. The human is... now you're getting into, like, a philosophical question about what is human. Homo neanderthalensis are still homo, right? Yeah, no, it's just like sometimes you learn things when you're young and they stick with you longer than they should. Right? They stick with you longer than they should. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let's I think I'm done. I think I am done. I think I am done doing calligraphy. I think I am done streaming. I think it's time to talk about the schedule. Once again, if you wish to commission me, if you wish to commission me, this is the that's the commission page. Heavy metal to any of these civilizations? Which one? I don't know. Maybe the Kurgans. I think the Kurgans would appreciate it a lot. I think the Kurgans would be into it. I'm pretty sure the Romans and the Greeks would not be into it. But I think the Kurgans would. That sounds right. That just sounds right to me. That just feels right. So, tomorrow is going to be Timberborn. Tomorrow I'm playing Timberborn. Thursday I am doing mini painting. Yeah, I figured you meant that. I figured you meant that. I mean, I'm probably part Neanderthal, right? You know, I'm white. You've seen my hair. You've seen how hairy I am. I'm probably part Neanderthal. Probably above standard human for Neanderthalensis. But yes, tomorrow is Timberborn. Thursday I'm planning on mini painting. That'll probably be more of a hangout stream. And then I haven't made any plans to stream Friday or Saturday. I need to figure out what's happening Wednesday and maybe Friday. I haven't done a game night on the server in forever. I kind of want to do, Rabbit and Steel or Infinity on the server. I think both of those would be fun to do. I think we're going over to Grimmy. Because I like Grimmy a lot. Let me just set us up for a little bit. Let me just do a little bit of setup over here. Okay. So, what is Grimmy doing tonight, by the way? Oh, she's talking about, Gunboat God. Okay, cool. She's just chatting. That's good. That's good. So, Discord, that's where my Discord is. There are my socials. I don't really use them because I'm kind of too old to bother with this kind of crap. The YouTube channel, oh, I am behind. The YouTube channel has, is where my VODs are. No, she talks about horror and cults. Grimmy is actually super knowledgeable about cults. Grimmy is super duper knowledgeable about cults. She grew up in like an insane, like, she grew up with like breatharians and stuff. She grew up with like she is like actually an expert on like really weird, insane cults. So like if you want, you can learn about some very cool stuff from Grimmy. I think she's super smart. There we go, and then T1 burst. There we go. There's me, and then we're going over to Grimmy's. I like Grimmy a lot. She's one of my favorite streamers. I think she does a lot of stuff that I like to do, but at a higher level. So please have a nice time with her. She's also raising a ton of cats. She has like 20 cats that have like fallen into her lap recently. Please ask her about them, but she's doing a very good job. She's doing very good work right now. I think she deserves the world. Okay. I will see you all tomorrow. For Beavers. We will be doing probably like 10 hours of Beavers. Love you all. Have a good night.